National Commission for the Promotion of Foreign Investment. Come to Panama, land of great opportunities. Come to Panama, a country with a maritime destiny, a country with great opportunities for investments. Since the days of the conquest and colonial times, Panama has been the compulsory path for men and goods, uniting the two oceans and continents by means of mule paths, railroads, highways, and a canal, thus making the world exchange of goods and people easier. But above all, it is in today's world headed towards the future and wide open trade and globalization that Panama unites the best characteristics for world capitals and the modern investor. The modern investor requires precisely what Panama has to offer. Transportation systems, communications, such as the canal, ports, modern telephone system, international banking services, strong currency, the dollar, land of high commercial value, hard-working, competitive people, and a stable, democratic government. The Panama Canal, which is 80 kilometers long, has operated continuously since 1914, allowing the passing of ships between the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. Through it, more than 12,000 ships pass every year, carrying more than 150 million tons of cargo. Panama and the United States are partners in the operation and control of the canal until the year 2000. After that date, when only Panama will administrate the canal, the two countries will continue to enjoy these cordial relations. On December 31st, 1999, Panama will have full control over the canal operations and will do it efficiently, safely, and reliably for the benefit of the nations which use it. In addition, a program has been initiated to modernize and widen the canal, which Panama will continue to develop. The port of Balboa in the Pacific and the ports of Cristobal and Cocosolo in the Atlantic are located at the opposite entrances of the canal. At present, Panama is developing a visionary program to modernize its ports to ensure efficiency and competitiveness in handling all kinds of maritime services, which include the following. Privatization of port services. Construction of 2 new port facilities in the Cocosolo area and Manzanillo in the Atlantic, and installation of transshipment equipment for the international redistribution of marine freight by a European consortium. From a political point of view, the administration of Dr. Ernesto Pérez Balladares shows great stability, which allows a peaceful, safe, and tolerant climate, and has excellent cooperative and friendly relations with the United States of America. The administration of Dr. Ernesto Pérez Balladares is taking a number of long-range steps through institutional and economic reforms, which include privatization, fostering foreign investments, opening new markets, increasing export capacity, all aimed at creating better job and investment opportunities and improving the country's competitive edge. Among the most important changes are the following. Reform of the labor code to allow more flexibility in relations between employers and employees. Adherence to the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, the World Trade Organization, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, APEC, the Andean Pact, and the Common Market of the South, Mercosur. Dismantling of trade barriers, creation of tax incentives which will include all the way from the exoneration of taxes for the purchase of equipment and preferential treatment on income and profits, to the implementation of an ambitious plan to improve the infrastructure, which includes roads, freeways, ports, and telecommunications, as well as privatization of important government-owned companies such as the telephone, light and power companies and ports, amongst others, and the recently created National Commission for Promoting Foreign Investments, headed by the President of the Republic and coordinated by the Minister of Foreign Relations, Gabriel Luis Galindo. The government of Panama has decided on developing a maritime and transportation policy which will make Panama the Singapore of the Americas. The key that unlocks the door to an easier access to great markets of the world, such as the Pacific Rim, with more than 1,500 million inhabitants. Europe, with 500 million inhabitants. The United States, Canada, and Mexico, with more than 400 million inhabitants. South America, with more than 300 million inhabitants. And Central America, with 60 million inhabitants. The most important free zone on the American continent is found in Colón, a center for re-exportation to Central and South America and the Caribbean. In 1994, its trade volume surpassed $10 billion. The Panamanian business class is bilingual and is highly trained and familiar with the running of international companies. Likewise, the manual labor force is characterized by its efficiency and its competitive spirit. The excellent quality of the educational system produces human resources of incalculable importance for the powerful economy of complementary services which Panama offers to foreign investors, such as medical services, tourist services, and a government administration that is in the full process of modernization. Modern Panama City offers its residents and visitors an excellent quality of life with safe residential areas, shops with articles from all over the world, boutiques, casinos, restaurants, first-class hotels and sports facilities such as tennis courts, golf courses and fishing. Panama's excellent international airport and centralized location allows traveling in just a few hours to the world's largest cities such as Miami in less than 3 hours, New York in 5 hours, Los Angeles in 6 hours, London in 10 hours, Rio de Janeiro and South America in a few hours, and Colombia and Costa Rica in 1 hour. The cosmopolitan aspect of the city includes several foreign groups. Among them, one of the most important is the Chinese community, which is very much appreciated and respected in Panama and represents 6% of the total metropolitan population. This colony occupies a special place in Panama with its own schools, investments, culture, and citizens who have reached prominent business and political positions. Panama's international financial center is comprised of 110 foreign banks, whose deposits surpass $34 billion. The use of the US dollar as legal local currency is of great benefit, avoiding devaluations and showing inflation rates of barely 2% during the last 10 years. Panama is prepared to welcome investors who are seeking better opportunities in this area of the world, as some who have already had the experience to invest here can confirm. In a world which is moving toward opening markets, globalization, and more efficient ways of cooperation, the Ernesto Pérez Balladares administration offers land, infrastructure, modern legislation, and political stability to ensure real opportunities to international financial capital. Among the opportunities Panama offers for consideration to international investors is the following proposal. Project for industrial parks for exportation, located in the area on the Atlantic side of the canal, Colón. Effective in 1995, the United States of America will return 2 large military complexes to Panama, Davis and Espinar, which have residential areas ready to be occupied. The land to be reverted covers 1,800 hectares and 500 hectares are offered for the development of industrial park complexes for exports, which will be available for use in October of 1995. The sites proposed for the industrial parks are located just 9 kilometers from Cristobal and Cocosolo ports and the France Field Airport on the Atlantic side of the Panama Canal, and are connected by existing well-paved roads. The areas destined for the industrial parks and the residential areas on Davis and Espinar have a complete infrastructure of roads, energy, telephones, drinking water and sewers, and all the nearby building installations and facilities which service the community are in excellent condition.
The towns of Davis and Espinar are located on the banks of the canal and less than 1 kilometer from the areas proposed for the industrial parks. They were built according to the United States standards and with characteristics and facilities American towns demand.
The town of Davis has the following facilities: housing, building for community services such as a shopping center, post office, churches, library, petrol stations, covered storage area, uncovered storage area, administrative offices, a theater, schools, and fuel deposits. Also, football and baseball stadiums, tennis courts, a swimming pool, and an 18-hole golf course.
The town of Espinar is located on the banks of the Gatun Lake and the Panama Canal. It also has facilities such as housing, locals offering services to the community, social and recreational facilities, a fuel deposit, theater, schools, playing fields, tennis courts, swimming pool, bowling alley, and facilities for water sports on the banks of the Gatun Lake.
In these residential areas, a number of communities of different nationalities, such as Chinese, Korean, Japanese, can be established, which allows them to live according to their ways and customs. The exclusive 18-hole Brazos Golf Club, located in the Davis and Espinar residential area, is another attraction for executives of the industrial park. The proximity of the city of Colón and surrounding towns guarantees a source of qualified labor at reasonable costs. Residential areas are also available for Panamanian workers. Panama has a number of sites similar to those that have been returned and will continue to be returned until 1999, which are also available as part of the national program to foster investment.
Taking into consideration all of these advantages, we are offering the businessmen of Asian countries this opportunity to establish an industrial park for exports, which could be located in a sector in the areas that have been described in Davis and Espinar. All of these installations, plus the existing infrastructure of ports and telecommunications, will allow investors from Asian countries to establish in a short period of time a community of executives and workers with all the comforts of housing, education, health, recreation and transportation for investors and their families, which will allow them an excellent lifestyle in the community. The wonderful opportunity we are presenting to the businessmen of the Asian countries to invest in this industrial development complex will help strengthen the friendly ties between Panama, a young country of America, and the 1,000-year-old Asian civilizations. These relations with Asian countries, which began more than 150 years ago with the construction of the Interoceanic Railroad and have continued to grow economically and culturally, project themselves toward the next millennium with prospects for success, thanks to the foresight of the leaders and businessmen of the nations involved.